Ever felt like you're shouting into the wind and no one seems to hear? That moment when you realize, despite all your efforts, the respect you deserve just isn't coming your way. This is a turning point, not just in how others see you, but in how you see yourself. Today we're diving deep into the world of respect, a concept as ancient as Stoicism itself, yet as relevant as ever in our modern hustle. Stoics teach us that respect starts from within, grounded in self-control and wisdom. But how do we translate these age-old philosophies into our daily interactions to command the respect we deserve? Stay tuned as we explore 5 practical strategies that empower you not just to seek respect, but to embody it, ensuring that your voice is not only heard, but valued. 1. Stop over-explaining. Less is more. When we dive into conversations, whether they're about turning down an invitation or explaining a decision at work, there's a common pitfall many of us stumble into: over-explaining. It's like we're wired to package our no with a neatly tied ribbon of reasons. But let's pause and rethink this. Why the urge to bundle up simple decisions with elaborate justifications? This tendency to over-explain can be traced back to a lack of confidence in our decisions or a fear of disappointing others. It's as though we're trying to avoid conflict before it even arises. But here's a thought that might change the way you approach these situations. Stoicism, a philosophy built on the virtues of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, teaches us the value of restraint and simplicity in our words and actions. Marcus Aurelius once mused that everything we say and do should be simple, natural, and straightforward. So when we choose to stop over-explaining, we're not just saving breath. We're practicing a form of Stoic virtue by trusting in the power of our decisions without feeling compelled to defend them at every turn. Consider this. When you over-explain, you inadvertently send a message that you don't trust your own decisions enough to let them stand on their own. You might think you're being helpful or thorough, but what often comes across is uncertainty and insecurity. This isn't just about trimming down your words. It's about embracing the confidence to say what's needed and no more. By doing so, you command more respect. People start to notice that you value your own judgment, and this naturally elevates their perception of your self-assurance and decisiveness. Now, how can we apply this in everyday life? Start small. Next time you make a decision, whether it's declining an invitation or opting out of an additional project at work, resist the urge to provide a backstory. A simple, "I won't be able to attend, thank you for inviting me," or "I'll need to pass on this project to focus on current priorities," should suffice. If pressed, remember that it's okay to repeat your original statement with a polite firmness, a key strategy that reflects both Stoic endurance and respect for one's own boundaries. Moreover, over-explaining can clutter your message and even lead to misunderstandings. The more you say, the more others have to interpret. Keeping your explanations concise helps maintain clarity in your communications, making it easier for others to understand your position. This clarity not only strengthens how others perceive you, but also aligns with the Stoic principle of clear and effective communication. Embracing less is more doesn't mean becoming cold or unapproachable. On the contrary, it's about finding the balance between being communicative and maintaining a kind of poised silence that speaks volumes about your self-respect and respect for others. This balance is crucial in professional settings, where being perceived as capable and confident can significantly impact your career trajectory. Reducing how much you explain about your choices is a liberating practice. It lightens your mental load, as you no longer feel the need to justify every decision. This not only fosters a healthier self-image, but also aligns with the Stoic idea of focusing on what's within our control, our actions and reactions, rather than external approval. So next time you catch yourself spiraling into the over-explanation trap, take a moment to pause. Reflect on the Stoic virtues of wisdom and temperance, and choose a response that respects both your time and the intelligence of your audience. Remember, every word you choose not to say is a testament to your confidence and an investment in your persona of respectability. 2. Guard your time. Treat it like treasure. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, yet how often do we find ourselves saying, "I just don't have the time"? This phrase has become the modern-day anthem for the overwhelmed. But here's a fresh perspective. Imagine treating your time with the same reverence and protection as a dragon guarding its gold. Why? Because in a world where everyone and everything demands a piece of you, guarding your time isn't just wise, it's essential. From a Stoic viewpoint, time is not just another resource. It is the most precious commodity we have. Once spent, it can never be regained. Seneca wrote extensively about the misuse of time in his essays. He believed that being busy is often an illusion, a construct of poor time management and misplaced priorities. Seneca's advice? Be selective. Just as a Stoic exercises judgment on what is essential for a good life, we too must decide what is worthy of our time. This selective approach to time management doesn't mean you become stingy or aloof. Rather, it's about making more informed choices, aligning your activities with your deepest values. Ask yourself, does this task, meeting, or social engagement align with my values? Will it contribute positively to my life? If the answer is no, you have a strong case for saying no. And saying no is a powerful step in respecting your own time. The art of saying no can be challenging, especially in a culture that often equates busyness with productivity and ultimately self-worth. However, every time you say yes to something that is not essential, you say no to something that is, perhaps your personal goals, relaxation, or even your health. Guarding your time means being proactive about what you let into your life. It's not about being rude, it's about being intentional. Consider this: when someone asks for your time, think of it as if they are asking for a slice of your life. Would you give it away so readily if you saw it that way? Probably not. This is where Stoic practice comes in handy. Reflect on the impermanence of life and the importance of using time wisely. Each moment should be spent in a way that adds value to your life or that of others, reflecting a Stoic's commitment to purposeful living. Moreover, guarding your time also means knowing when to delegate or simply let things go. Not every email requires a response. Not every problem brought to you needs your personal touch to solve. As Marcus Aurelius pointed out, very few things are as urgent as they seem. Learning to differentiate between what needs your attention and what can be handled by others is a skill that frees up your time and mental space. In practicing these principles, you might worry about how others perceive your guarded approach to time. Here's a comforting thought. People respect those who value their own time. It sets a standard, showing that you respect yourself and, by extension, respect them too. People will learn that when you do commit your time, they are getting the best of you, not just what's left of you after being stretched too thin. To truly guard your time, you must also ensure you're using it well. Stoicism teaches us to reflect daily on our actions and decisions. Use this practice to assess how you spent your day. Did you allow time for what truly matters? Did you say no when necessary? Adjust as needed. And remember, each day is a new opportunity to live according to your values. 3. Stand your ground, even when it's hard. There's a certain undeniable strength in knowing when and how to hold your ground. It's not about being obstinate. It's about knowing your worth and the value of your ideas. In today's world, where opinions fly as freely as leaves in the wind, it can be tempting to just go with the flow to avoid conflict. But let's flip the script. What if, by standing firm on your own ground, you could cultivate a deeper respect for yourself and from others? Drawing from Stoic wisdom, we find a potent reminder in the teachings of Epictetus, who said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters." This philosophy is at the heart of standing your ground. It's not about reacting with aggression or stubbornness, but responding with reasoned, thoughtful conviction about your beliefs and choices. It's about showing up in the world as someone who respects their own opinions enough to defend them, even when it's uncomfortable. The act of standing your ground comes down to a fundamental respect for one's own principles and a confidence in one's decisions. This isn't something that's necessarily easy to do, especially in challenging situations where consensus leans heavily against you. Yet, there's incredible value in the practice. Each time you assertively express your viewpoint without aggression, you're not only practicing Stoic resilience, you're also teaching those around you about your integrity and commitment to your values. Consider a situation at work where your idea is challenged. It might be easier to just nod and move on, but what if your idea has merit that's being overlooked due to groupthink or haste? Standing your ground in such instances means articulating your perspective clearly and providing reasoning. This doesn't mean shutting down opposition. Rather, it involves opening a dialogue where your voice is heard and considered. Here, the Stoic practice of dispassionate reasoning comes into play. Present your case logically and calmly, without attachment to anger or frustration. Furthermore, standing your ground is inherently tied to the Stoic ideal of self-control. It involves controlling your emotions in the face of opposition so that your words and actions are guided by reason rather than impulse. This self-mastery is what ultimately commands respect. People tend to respect those who can remain composed and rational, especially when the stakes are high. But let's be clear. Standing your ground also means being prepared to accept that others may not always agree with you, and that's okay. Stoicism teaches the acceptance of things we cannot change, including the opinions of others. However, there is great personal growth and respect to be earned in simply having the courage to represent your views authentically. In personal relationships, this practice is just as critical. It might be about setting boundaries or expressing needs that are important to you. This could be as simple as saying no to additional commitments when you're already stretched thin, or as significant as defending your career choices to family members who envision a different path for you. To truly stand your ground effectively, reflect on why your stance is important to you. What core values are you upholding by holding this position? Are you striving for fairness, integrity, authenticity? Identifying this can give you the strength to persist and the clarity to communicate your position with conviction. 4. Follow through. Be as good as your word. In life, consistency is one of those traits that doesn't always grab the spotlight, but is crucial to building and maintaining trust. Think about it. When someone consistently follows through on their promises, how do you view them? There's a good chance you see them as reliable, dependable, and trustworthy. Now, let's take that a step further. Imagine aligning this kind of consistency with the Stoic pursuit of virtue. Stoics place immense value on living a life that is congruent with one's beliefs and values. Being as good as your word is not just a mark of reliability, it's a testament to your integrity and character. Marcus Aurelius often emphasized the importance of action that aligns with principles. He advocated for living in a way that is consistent with one's philosophy, not just in thoughts, but in deeds. Following through on what you say you will do is a powerful demonstration of this philosophy. It shows that you are not merely caught up in the momentary enthusiasm of making promises, but are deeply committed to seeing them through, reflecting the Stoic value of consistency between words and actions. When you make a promise, think of it as setting an expectation not just in the mind of the other person, but also creating a future task for yourself. Every time you fulfill a promise, you're essentially telling the world and reinforcing to yourself that you are someone who can be counted on. This consistency builds a foundation of trust that can enhance every relationship you have, from personal friendships to professional partnerships. Consider how this practice can transform your interactions. If you commit to a project at work, see it through with the diligence it deserves. If you agree to help a friend, be there when they need you. Even the smallest promises matter. The act of following through, even on seemingly minor commitments, contributes to a reputation of reliability that can significantly impact how others perceive and interact with you. However, following through on every promise isn't just about fulfilling obligations to others. It's also about self-respect and personal integrity. Stoicism teaches that we should not be disturbed by things outside our control, but it also insists that we fully own the responsibilities within our control. By consistently meeting your commitments, you align your actions with your ideals, which is a core aspect of Stoic ethics. But what happens when circumstances change and following through becomes impossible? Stoicism provides guidance here as well. The philosophy encourages us to adapt to our circumstances with grace. If you find that you cannot keep a promise, communicate openly and honestly about it. Offer alternatives or solutions where possible, and learn from the experience to make more mindful commitments in the future. It's also important to note that being as good as your word includes knowing when to say no. Overcommitting is a common pitfall. It's easy to say yes to too many things out of a desire to please others or fear of missing out. However, spreading yourself too thin can lead to broken promises and diminished trust. Here, the Stoic practice of self-awareness is crucial. Know your limits, understand your capabilities, and commit only to what you can manage. This not only helps you keep your promises, but also ensures that your actions remain sustainable and aligned with your capacity. 5. Embrace accountability. Own your mistakes. It's easy to bask in the glow of success and accept accolades, but what about those times when things don't go as planned? Owning up to our mistakes is not just an act of integrity, it's a profound exercise in character building. This step, challenging as it may be, is where real growth happens. The Stoics, with their emphasis on self-awareness and personal responsibility, understood this well. They believed that acknowledging one's own errors is not a sign of weakness, but a courageous act of honesty that leads to improvement. When we talk about accountability, it's about more than just admitting a mistake. It involves taking a step back, evaluating what went wrong, why it happened, and how to prevent it in the future. This process is reflective of the Stoic practice of daily self-examination, where they would review their actions at the end of each day to ascertain what they could have done better. By embracing this practice, you not only learn from your mistakes, but also demonstrate to others that you are committed to continual self-improvement. Accountability goes hand in hand with humility, another core Stoic value. Recognizing that you are fallible and admitting your mistakes can be humbling, but this humility is empowering. It opens the door to learning and growth, which are essential for personal and professional development. Furthermore, when you own your mistakes, you diffuse conflict and build trust. People tend to be more forgiving and supportive when they see someone handling errors with honesty and grace. Consider a scenario at work where a misstep on your part led to a project delay. While it might be tempting to shift the blame or make excuses, taking responsibility can transform a potentially negative situation into an opportunity for learning and team building. By acknowledging the mistake and outlining your plan to rectify it, you set a powerful example for your team about what it means to be a responsible and ethical leader. Moreover, embracing accountability can also enhance your decision-making skills. Each time you own up to a mistake, you are forced to confront the decision processes that led to that error. This reflection can sharpen your judgment, making you more adept at anticipating and mitigating potential problems in the future. In this way, accountability is not just corrective, but preventative. However, accountability is not solely about dealing with failures. It's also about transparency in success. Being open about what works and what doesn't, sharing both your successes and your mistakes, contributes to a culture of openness and learning. This approach not only helps you grow as an individual, but also enhances the collective knowledge and skills of your peer group, fostering a supportive and collaborative environment. Stoicism teaches us that our reactions to our circumstances are more important than the circumstances themselves. Therefore, when you make a mistake, your focus should not dwell on the error itself, but on your response to it. Embracing this mindset not only helps you handle the immediate consequences of your mistakes more effectively, but also aligns you with Stoic principles of focusing on what you can control, your actions, reactions, and personal growth. As we wrap up our exploration of these life-enhancing strategies, it's clear that each one carries a profound significance far beyond what might first appear. Whether it's being concise with our words, guarding our time like a treasure, standing firm in our beliefs, being consistent in our actions, or owning our mistakes, all these principles converge to form a framework not just for earning respect, but for living a deeply fulfilling life. Imagine integrating these practices into your daily life. Each day becomes a canvas on which you paint with your actions, words, and choices, each stroke guided by wisdom and intent. This isn't just about navigating the external world, it's about sculpting the internal landscape of your character. As Marcus Aurelius reminded us, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Similarly, the best way to earn respect is not to demand it, but to embody it. Through these principles, we also connect to something timeless, a tradition of thinkers who knew that the true measure of our lives is not what we gather, but what we scatter, the impacts we have, the respect we earn, and the integrity we maintain. This journey towards embodying respect isn't always easy, but it's incredibly rewarding. So as you move forward, remember that each interaction is a chance to practice these principles. See each moment of choice as an opportunity to demonstrate the virtues you value. The more you practice, the more natural these behaviors will become, until one day you'll find that you're not just acting with respect, you're living it. Thank you for joining me on this journey today. Here's to living a life that not only seeks respect, but more importantly, deserves it. Keep striving, keep growing, and remember, the most respected person in the room is often the one who knows the power of virtue and the strength of character. Let's keep those ideals close as we navigate the complexities of our lives with Stoic grace and wisdom.